And we are back.
Retro Myrtle Beach guy. And we have kind of a special episode today. So July is Disability Pride Month. And as you may or may not know, my wife Kat has cerebral palsy.
Yep, I do. You're aware.
Helpful if we shared our experiences living in Myrtle Beach so that anybody with a disability who's considering vacationing here or even possibly moving here would get a little bit more information. So Kat, you're from New York.
Yep.
Living in New York, did you run into a lot of obstacles with accessibility?
Oh yeah. New York is pretty inaccessible if you've been there and you have a disability. You know, the curbs, the sidewalk, the trains, the buses, they're a struggle, but not really here. Like, I haven't had many issues, if at all. Things are very low, elevators are available, they're working. Yeah, it's been so helpful here.
When we first started talking, one of the things that actually got me thinking about it was that I realized that we have a pretty big retirement community here, a lot of seniors and stuff who live here. And then upon thinking about it, I realized that there's a lot of ramps everywhere I go. Most places are one story, and if they aren't, they have a ramp or an elevator. So yeah, I threw it out to Kat. I was like, it might be interesting because it's probably a lot easier to get around here. One of the interesting things, I guess, is you've lived here, 5 years now?
Yep, just about.
Can you recall the last time we had to check ahead to see whether a place was accessible?
I don't think we've ever had to do that.
I remember. No, the escape room. For our anniversary, we called ahead, and it was funny because they were like, of course. So yeah, obviously we're definitely accessible. It usually doesn't even cross our mind. If there's a new restaurant or something or a new attraction in town, we don't even check. We just go and assume that it will be accessible, which is really nice. Another thing you may notice living here in Myrtle Beach or just here on vacation is we actually do have a pretty big community of people with disabilities here, and you'll notice that they work in a lot of establishments that you'll frequent here, and I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Having a disability, it's really hard to find a job and have that job be stable, but to have such a lovely community that really works hard to make sure you have a good job that is accessible to you and easy to navigate, get to, things like that, it's very helpful, very good for our community, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
I think it was one of our first dates. We went to the movie theater, and there was a girl who looked like she had cerebral palsy too. Yeah. In her electric chair taking tickets at the window, and it was great too because not only was she visibly pretty happy to see us come in and everything, it was great because you could see everyone in line very patiently waiting and this is taking forever, that you usually get with a regular line anyhow, but it seemed like it just brought out the best in the people there, which was also kind of funny. And yeah, I've noticed, we have we have a little people community here too, and then we have a few little people who live here. There's a big autism awareness community. A lot of families with people with autism come here on vacation. There's a lot of, they have sensory nights at the aquarium. They've got sensory days at grocery stores. And yeah, honestly, just right across the street, we've got Savannah's Playground, which is like a massive accessible playground with honestly cooler stuff than I've ever seen at other playgrounds. They got zip lines and musical instruments and crazy.
They got little cars that go beep, beep, beep. They got little voices going beep, beep, beep. They got grubby little fingers, dirty little minds. They're gonna get you every time. Well, I don't want no short people. Don't want no short people. Don't want no short people around here.
While like some beach communities, I know we don't have the pads that roll out to the beach. I think there might be 1 or 2 installed by now, but we do have that system where you can call up for beach wheelchairs, and they deliver them to whatever beach access you're going to be using. So that's a neat little feature. And I guess, you know, also with having, I think, more people with disability out in the community, visually, working places and stuff like that, does it make you feel a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah, definitely. Just being able to see people who get it, understand, you know, sort of face the same challenges you do, you really do feel like you're a part of a community. And that is hard when you don't see members of your community, but that's not a problem here. You frequently see people with disabilities, and it's nice.
I feel like that it also, you know, it exposes everyone else to people with disabilities more, so you're less with the staring and the comments that you might have elsewhere, because it's like, well, yeah, you run into someone with a disability almost everywhere you go here. It's nice too. There's a lot of good family support. I'm sure you can check ahead about the sensory days, and they have like special events for people with disabilities all the time. They've got the adaptive surf program here, so you can learn to surf.
Sockasty High School student, it's been life-changing.
It's called the Adaptive Surf Project.
Dowdy was born with spina bifida. Dowdy has been unable to walk, however has not limited his love for sports in and out of the water.
It feels great, honestly. It felt great. The first time I came in, I was like, yeah.
Actually, I think they just had that event not that long ago. Another thing that this one just makes me personally happy, and it won't affect Kat in any way, because no matter how many times I try to convince her, I can't get her going mini golfing. But we have, I mean, I don't want to misquote, like, it's something like a dozen ADA approved accessible mini golf courses. And, you know, some places they'll be like, oh, it's an accessible mini golf course, but like there's still walls, there's still little steps, there's things about it that are still not spectacular. We have actual ADA approved courses here that are like, no, it's completely accessible. The ADA, you know, standards are all met here. So that's a super cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, most time if you're doing entertainment, it's like, oh, well, you know, you can also, again, it's that like, you know, we'll stop the ride or whatever it is. But here it's just like, well, which course do you want, the regular or the ADA course? And that's the only difference. And I mean, also, if you don't feel like taking a lot of steps and walking up and down, you know, hills, the ADA course isn't bad for that reason either. Another big perk here that I also can't get Kat to go along with me is our Myrtle Beach Pelicans. The accessible seating at the Pelican Stadium are the best seats in the house. The second you walk out to that field, they're right there on the ramp. I mean, incredible seats. People actually buy some of those seats next to it just so they can have those seats. If you go there, they'll have their names and everything on it. I can't get her to go, but I really just want to go so I can sit in them seats. It's the best seats in the house. And you're right by the concession stand.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, the bathrooms, everything. Seriously, we're gonna have to go to the stadium sometime. I'll just buy a crab cake sandwich.
Okay.
Now, you have a personal chauffeur, but you have looked into transportation. How did you find transportation availability for people with disabilities here?
It is a little bit different from New York, but it did seem easier. Now, like you said, you definitely assist with the driving around, but definitely easier application than in New York City.
They have like
simple.
a people mover, like a bus or something that'll take you where you need to go.
Right, paratransit. So they'll take you to your destination as long as you make a reservation. At the time, I believe it was within 24 hours. So if you call and make a reservation, you give them the address and where you want to be picked up from, and they will be able to take you there. Again, at the time when I checked, it was maybe for a couple dollars the cost of a bus ride. So it is paratransit run by the same people, so that's why it would be the cost of a bus ride.
And I wouldn't know. It's not like specific. It's not like you have to take a certain route. It's like, I want to go to the grocery store and
Yes.
stuff. So they just take you wherever it is that you have to go.
Right. Within certain limits, I imagine it would be within Myrtle Beach limits, so they can't leave that area. If you did need to leave said area, you would have to get a different company to take you to those places.
All right. After having lived here for 5 years or so, would you suggest Myrtle Beach for other people with disabilities?
Absolutely. I mean, I've only ever lived in 2 places, so I don't have a lot to compare it to. But again, Myrtle Beach is very accessible, and I bring it up whenever I can that you should definitely come down here if you're looking for a place to travel and you have a disability, because your experience will be enjoyable. You want to be able to enjoy your vacation, and if it's not accessible, you're not going to, period. But in Myrtle Beach, that's not a problem.
Actually, that brings up, we honeymooned at Disney World.
Yes.
Did you find it comparable, better, or worse than Disney World? Because Disney World, they go above and beyond. I mean, they'd stop the rides and everything, but it seemed like at Disney World it was more that they would accommodate you, less than the accommodations are sort of built into the experience, right?
Interestingly enough, I mean, it is Disney World. Disney sort of relied on you to know the information and know what is available to you. And of course, I didn't have that information. I didn't know what was available to me. So I only found out based on what I saw, and Disney didn't advertise very well. I mean, we couldn't find the wheelchair station.
Yeah, we went a whole day without any kind of assistance there.
We were not told about accessible bathrooms, which is important, obviously.
Yeah, especially when you have a partner who's got to push you around and can't push you into the ladies' room full of moms trying to get their kids changed and stuff.
Yes. So, yes, I'm sure Disney has a lot of accessibility, but they do not spend a lot of money marketing said accessibility.
Yeah, if we didn't stop and ask a cast member, I doubt we would know most of that stuff.
And even then, the cast members themselves
Only knew some of it.
Yes. So, Myrtle Beach, they make sure to advertise their accessibility in a way that Disney definitely does not. So yes, Disney has money to do many, many things, but you really need to know the information. And Myrtle Beach gives it freely, and Disney had their issues.
It's not like they're comparable in any way. It's just like if we were going on a ride, it felt like you don't want to feel like you're holding people up. You don't want to feel like you're making someone else have less of a good time. They stopped the whole ride. So we were in Epcot. They stopped the whole ball, everyone in the whole thing, get a load cat on, unload her, and then they start the ride back up. It just feels like things are more integrated here. It's not like, oh, you need the disabled entrance, that's around the side. It's like the ramp's right next to the front door. Everything's really easily defined, and it doesn't make you feel like you got to go out of your way, or they're like a different type of person or something.
Yes.
Or at least I shouldn't be the one saying that, but from what I gathered from just observing.
Yes, and I totally agree. I did not feel othered while at Disney at all, but I also don't feel othered in Myrtle Beach. So I guess that's a similarity.
In Disney World, you get a lot of hey, a lot of smiling, and we're so happy you're here. And here you might just get a hey.
Yeah.
Because it is really common to see people with disabilities. I mean, again, like, you don't even really think about it anymore. You're just like, oh, you know, walking past a person in a wheelchair or a little person or something, and like, you don't even think twice about it. You're just kind of like, hey, what's up, and keep
Right.
going.
The assumption here is not that we're less than, but rather that we're equals. And very many places we do not get that. So it's nice.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like an othering. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not know, Kat is a wife, the most important thing.
Mother.
A mother, an educator, and you have your master's degree in what?
So I have my bachelor's degree in psychology, my master's degree in general education and special education, because I felt that my disabled students really needed someone to look up to, someone who understands them pretty much. So that's really why I wanted to go into the field that I did. I work for a private homeschooling company. It allows me to work from home. It is called OutSchool, if you haven't heard of it before. And it doesn't have to be for homeschooling families. It's pretty much for anyone. If you want to hire a teacher, you hire a teacher, and they teach you from the comfort and safety of your own home, which is great.
It's basically like private tutoring, and Kat here uses the power of Pokemon to teach kids about math and reading and science and all that fun stuff. I'll put a link down in the comments section so that you can check that out too. So if you do have any kids that are interested in Pokemon and or learning, you can check out her stuff. Hopefully we'll start getting her some YouTube stuff going too, because we wanna start getting some stuff and content up here for. So yeah, we'll get her channel going soon, and that'll be fun. But hopefully we've been able to give you some information that can mold your decisions about places to vacation and or possibly live. Anything else, Kat?
No, I think we covered it all.
Well, until next time.
I can't do that.
Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason to live. They got little hands, little eyes. They walk around telling great big lies. They got little noses, tiny little teeth.
This has been a Spinestead and Edict production.
Okay.
Oh, come on,
Between
we're
the two
having
of you.
fun. We're having
Between the two
fun.
of you. Okay.